and you have the bird show,
Okay.
and then you have the.
So what is the first one you were saying? Like Everest. How about the Everest one? Everest expedition.
Everest in the middle of the park, in the middle.
Oh.
Everest it's a roller coaster.
Oh, so I should not go to Everest first. I mean, which ride should I start?
It's not so bad, but if you have lunch, don't. It's gonna be tough. With the lunch in your stomach.
Oh, okay.
No good. Yeah, you're better off doing Avatar, running around. Some of them are gonna be hiding, but
Maybe taking naps.
what they don't like is the hot day. They don't like the hot day when it's 95.
Okay. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's the only restaurant in Asia. The other restaurant is quick service that you go to the other one, the other Asian restaurant has more.
아주 예뻤고 있죠.
weather.
이렇게 장난감 이렇게 했어. 아스타 바이드 되죠. 뭐였네 그. এই গাছে ঘুরিয়ে দেখছিলাম ছবি ঠান্ডা আছে ভালো দেখি রোদ হলো Pandora.
Right here, guys. This is our picture.
저기 있자.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay.
Do a video. Stay there. Okay, go ahead. I know I'm gonna be scared. We're too far north. No, it'll be here. No, yes, right. Has her head down and her hands raised. No, I'm grabbing. Oh yeah. Let's see. Still have.
Dude, literally. Hey, sorry, bud.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna post it.
Actually,
It goes upside down.
2, 3.
ভিজে যাবো নাকি?
হ্যাঁ বুঝতে পারি ভিজবো ডিপেন্ড করছে কোথায় বসবো তার উপর কোথায় বসলে ভিজবো না আমি বুঝতে পারি কিন্তু মহিলাগুলো না সরে গেল ওরা ভিজবো লাগে টিগ্রিস রোদ হলে ভালো লাগে রোদ নাই তো ওই জন্য ঠান্ডায় বাড়াচ্ছে না ওই তো রোদ তো আগাচ্ছে না ঠান্ডা গরম লাগে মনে হয় এদিকে আসতে ভাই হচ্ছে বাঘগুলো মানে এত মানে ফাজে এই গাছটা পাই কি আছে মানে এটা ক্যানাডার যে জু দেখছি না জু দেখছি মোটামুটি এটা
Get a picture of him.
Hey, turn around. Turn around.
Jason,
Honey, it's... Oh, he's got a toy in his hand. I mean, in his mouth. Look how cute.
What's that?
It's a toy. Animals like to play with toys, too.
Is that neat?
Oh, they're right here, buddy boy.
Yeah.
Oh, tigers.
You want to go here?
No, you're okay. You're right.
Yeah, very nice. They just came here.
Hey, tigers are right here.
He's a teenager.
That's why it's
He's almost as big as her, but it's very easy to tell them apart when they're new. Yes. He's still very cute.
yeah, very nice.
And there's a really good chance that they put some kind of food in there for him, like a special.
Like that.
Up on the hill, like it's just like a lodge.
You only have one foot?
Oh,
চোখটা দেখো চোখটা eyes are very beautiful দেখো চোখগুলো ভাই এই চুল দেখো তোমরা আছড়ে সকালে উঠে ঘুরতে ঘুরতে আছড়ে নিচ্ছ
How funny.
Hi, Papa.
Ellos están diciendo que yo tengo cercano.
Claro que foi isso. Eu me
चलो ट्रेजर है
And another thing we like to say here in Harambe is Twin Day, which means let's go. Jumbo everyone, welcome in. My name is Abby. I'm going to be your safari guide at Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. Now that we are moving, just a couple of safety reminders for you. Please hang on tight to anything you might have brought with you. If you drop it out here on the reserve, I cannot stop and get it for you. You might get it back eventually, but it probably will not look the same way it did when you lost it. Now we're hanging out here just a second. We're just waiting for the all clear to follow that truck ahead of us onto the reserve. But in the meantime, you do have an animal spotting guide up above your head. And that's going to give you an idea of most of the things we might get the chance to see out here today. May not see every single thing up there, but we should have some pretty good luck out here. It's been a very busy place so far. Now we're going to be heading first through the Little Aturi Forest. And one very important thing to remember here is that a lot of the animals that call it home to use camouflage as a natural defense mechanism. Sometimes that's going to make them a little bit harder for us to spot as well, but of course we will do the best that we can. And actually, because it's so much cooler, we might be hanging out a little bit further out in the sun for us today. Now up at the top of the hill on our left, that is a bongo. Bongos are sometimes called the ghosts of the forest. They can be so hard to spot. They've got an extremely well-developed sense of hearing that's going to help them right at the first sign of any danger, but it makes them pretty hard for us to study, too. There's still quite a bit we're learning about them. And actually, there are two animals over on our left here. The larger dark brown animal all the way back by the fence line is an okapi. And a little bit closer to us here, kind of down by the water, the much smaller dark brown animal is a yellow-backed diker. Now, dikers are a very small family of antelope. This is the largest of all of them. That's as big as they get. Their name in Afrikaans means diver. That's because they've got a tendency to throw themselves into the bushes when they're alarmed. They can make a very quick getaway, and usually that means from us too. So it's pretty exciting to get to see him out and about today. Now, okapis are also extremely elusive in the wild. They weren't discovered by Westerners until about 1901. It was another couple of decades before we managed to get our first photo of one of them. Locals, of course, knew they were there a whole lot sooner than we did, but we actually thought that they were mythical for quite a while. They were so hard for us to find. Now, despite the stripes that she had on all four legs, okapis are not related to zebras. They're actually the only living relatives of giraffe. We know that because of their long prehensile tongues. They use them to help strip leaves off of trees and branches when they eat, just like giraffes do. These tall black and white birds down on our left here are saddle-billed storks. And then the tall tan antelope that we saw up on our right just a moment ago were greater kudu. Now, they had very similar vertical white stripes across their backs to those that the bongos had just a moment ago. Those serve the same purpose for each of them. They help mimic the look of sunlight and shadows coming down through the trees. It's just one of the ways they're going to stay a bit better hidden in here. And then on our left, there is a black rhino. It's tucked kind of down in the corner here. You just barely see his back poking up over the rocks. Now, that is the smaller rhino species native to Africa. They get up about 3,000 pounds, but despite their size, they're still pretty fast. They run about 30 to 35 miles an hour, and they can actually gallop like a horse, getting all 4 feet above the ground at the same time. But like a lot of the animals here in the forest, they are a very shy, solitary species, so even if their territories overlap with one another a little bit, they still generally prefer to keep to themselves as much as they possibly can. Now, often that makes them a whole lot harder for us to get a good look at, too. But that's all right. That really just means these animals are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. But now we're going to head on down into the Safi River Valley. Hopefully start to see some more aquatic animals this direction. And a lot of these guys are going to have some really cool adaptations that will allow them to spend the majority of their time fully underwater if they choose. Animals like hippos and crocodiles have their eyes, ears, nostrils. Their names from, as you can probably guess, pink feathers merged beneath it. They can actually sleep down there as well. They're able to hold their breath for several minutes at a time. They don't need to wake up in order to come up for air. That part they're going to do in their sleep, no problem. It is a completely automatic reflex for them. They'll float to the surface, take a breath, and sink right back down. Now, their name in Latin also translates to river horse. That's because they've got a tendency to prefer running along the bottom of the water over actually swimming. They can swim. They're very good at it. They have to be, but it uses up much more energy to keep those large bodies afloat, and they can hold their breath for so long that the coolest thing about it, at least in my opinion, is that it's got an antibacterial quality to it as well. So it's going to help fight infections and things like that without them having to do anything at all. So that is a pretty useful tool they've got out here. Now, it does sound like those trucks should be getting back on the move up ahead of us here pretty quick, but our reserve is a big circle, so we have to wait for traffic to catch up. Since we're water pits are also going to pick up the smallest temperature changes, things like that. That's going to let them know when they need to get in and out of the water to help regulate that a little bit easier. But in spite of their reputations, crocodiles are actually pretty amazing parents. Mom and dad are actually going to take turns guarding eggs in the nest until they're ready to hatch, making sure nobody messes with them. And every now and then, you might even catch them putting those eggs in their mouths and rolling them around a little bit. That is because it's going to help soften their shell. So that way, when it does come time for those baby crocodiles to hatch, you'll have just a little bit of an easier time breaking out of there. Mom and dad might also be willing to ferry those little ones back and forth from land to water, riding in their mouths as well. They know nobody's going to try to mess with them as long as they are safely tucked away inside. But down on our left here, there is probably a much better view of a couple of those hippos that we were looking for. Like I said, on a cooler morning like this one, we do get to see them up on the banks a little bit more often. Just make sure we're staying seated for me back there. All the way in the back, just make sure that we are fully seated for me, friends. There's also a couple more all the way back by the wall there. You can see them down in front of the waterfall. And then as we're heading over the bridge, do keep an eye out for those crocodiles. Like I said, they're typically hanging out in the area. Looks like there might be one all the way back by the wall there, warming up in the sun. Once again, make sure that we are staying fully seated for me back there, guys. But we are going to go ahead and make our way out onto the savannah now. It sounds like it has been a pretty busy place out here. This is where we were waiting on those giraffes in the road just a moment ago. Now, as we do, you're probably going to notice plants and animals look pretty different out here. We get a lot less rain in this region, so everybody has to conserve water where they can. And a perfect example of that is going to be just up around the corner. Coming up on our right-hand side in just a second, this massive tree that we're going to pass by is a baobab tree. You can see it just off to the side of the road up ahead right now. These trees are going to remain leafless, just like this one is now for about 9 months out of the year as a means of conserving their water. And all the excess gets stored in that trunk. The animals absolutely know they've got it in there. Elephants will actually poke holes in that trunk with their tusks on occasion to get to that water when they need it. It's got a very spongy consistency to the bark, so all anyone really has to do is chew on it to get to all that water trapped inside. But one of the other things that a lot of the more famous animals out here have in common are their very vibrant coat patterns. Those help them blend in with each other and with their surroundings in this region that otherwise really doesn't offer them a whole lot of natural cover. And for that same reason, you're going to find all sorts of herd species out here as well because, again, there's not really that many places for them to hide. So, in general, they tend to prefer safety in numbers. That makes things much easier for them, as opposed to somewhere like the forest that we visited first, where we can find a lot more of those solitary species, like the okapi, or that black rhino, or that yellowback duiker, who have a much easier time hiding if they ever needed to. Now, we're going to talk about everybody out here as we make our way around. One of the other things that's going to be pretty common are very important adaptations to help these animals regulate their body temperatures. It's going to be one of the most important steps to conserving water in the body. So things like larger ears and larger horns are going to be pretty common as well. Horns with those really wide bases typically are going to be hollow in Southeast Asia. I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. But if you look over to our left, those are African painted dogs. Now, these guys are related to domestic dogs and wolves, but they come from a completely different branch of the canid family tree. One of the reasons we know that is they've only got 4 toes on each foot. Most of our dogs probably have 5. And these guys also don't bark. Instead, they communicate through a series of high-pitched chirps, which sounds a lot like a hyena, though they're not related. Hyenas are actually a little closer to cats than they are dogs, so technically they're in a family all their own. Now, painted dogs are crepuscular animals, so that means they're most active at dawn and at dusk. They're running around right now, but they're going to settle down for most of the day here pretty soon. So they may not look it most of the time, but they're actually some of the most efficient hunters out here on the savannah, largely because they work so well together as a team. Now, also on the left are a couple more animals. Way back in the back, those dark brown antelope laying back in the sun are sable antelope. That's actually the emblem of the reserve, so if you noticed our sign on the way in, that's who is on it. And then these larger gray animals, a little closer to us here, are wildebeest. Now, the wildebeest live in some of the most densely packed populations of any mammal on it globally every single year. Now, coming up on our left here, this large tan antelope is an eland. This is the largest antelope species you're going to find here on the reserve. Now, he weighs about 2,000 pounds, and he's about 6 feet tall. Eland are incredibly well adapted to life here on the savannah for all sorts of reasons, but probably the most unique one is that they can actually intentionally elevate their body temperatures by around 13 degrees Fahrenheit. That probably sounds a little bit counterproductive, but that's going to help the body conserve water, and that in turn helps keep them feeling cooler as well, despite having raised their body temperatures in order to do it. So That is a very handy tool for them. And coming up on our right, these are Ankoli. To live here on the reserve are Maasai giraffes. We know that because they've all got this very jagged edge to Derby, though he's got quite a bit of work to do before he catches up to mom and everybody else out here. Now there's a very small tan antelope over there with them are but larger ears means more surface area, and that means the elephants can cool themselves down even faster. In Africa, that gives us a pretty good idea of whether we're looking at male or female elephants. Males are typically solitary, or we may find males that typically prefer living alone or in those smaller bachelor herds. Female elephants are usually found in much larger matriarch herds. That means that one, whether she's older or maybe just a little wiser than the others, will determine the herd's movements and kind of make sure everybody stays accounted for. Now, a baby elephant typically stays with mom at least until its teenage years, and at that point, boys are likely going to branch off and join bachelor herds of their own, but a girl may choose to stay with mom for life. All of the other females, no matter how old or young they might be, are going to work together to raise any babies they have as a collective. Elephant calves are born at a few hundred pounds. They're going to be nearing 1,000 by the time they're a year old. So you can imagine, they are quite the handful for mom. She's going to need all the help she can get. And it's from every single one of those older elephants that little ones learn important skills they'll need throughout their lifetimes, like how to use those trunks they've got for pretty much everything they do. But just like a baby human has to learn to walk, baby elephants also have to build up those muscles and all that coordination over time. And a lot of it really just comes through watching and mimicking what they see from mom and all the other older members of their herd. Now there are a couple of zebras up on our right here as well. These are Hartman's mountain zebras. That's one of 3 zebra species currently found, and every single one of them also has a fully unique stripe pattern as well, kind of like a fingerprint. Their lives. Now down here on our left, these are greater flamingos. This is the largest species. They're also the lightest color pink. They don't start out pink though, they start out gray. They'll get this bright pink color over the course of their lifetime from a protein in their food called beta-carotene. That takes a couple of years to fully develop for them. But then in just a moment here, we're actually going to head on over into rhino territory. Now we kind of got to see that black rhino earlier, but there are 2 rhino species native to Africa. So now we're going to be looking for white rhinos. And these are a bit larger. They get up to about 5,000 pounds. Actually, that's nearly twice the size of the black rhino that we saw earlier. These are also the much more social of the 2. So while black rhinos are almost exclusively solitary, you will pretty much always find white rhinos in herd thing. Now, all rhinos don't have very good eyesight. These guys are actually incredibly nearsighted, but what they lack in their vision, they're going to make up for in their hearing. So if you watch their ears as you come around here, you'll notice they're always moving on a pivot. They can rotate them almost 360 degrees, and that gives sound. It will help them keep a really accurate idea of what's going on all around them, and it shows us they're listening to us and each other and all these other trucks around us, because they do know that we come and go through here all the time. And by watching those ears, we can see they know where we are and what we're doing, even though they can only see clearly about 10 feet in front of them. They can see further than that, but not very well. And they might not always look the most attentive, but they are absolutely always listening in. Now, in general, we don't really tend to find them too far from this mud wallow if they can avoid it, because in addition to acting as their sunscreen, this could also be one of their only good, consistent water sources out here during the dry season. So they're also going to drink from it if they need to as well. And other animals do that too. It makes it a very popular place, but it's especially vital to these white rhinos. So this is going to be one of their... Now, up on our left, there's also a couple of cheetahs. They're coming up the very end of the hill here. You can see them laying. Not least, as we're coming down the warden's outpost here, these little guys up in the yard are Nigerian dwarf goats. They're a very small breed of dairy goat. This is as big as they get, but their small size makes them a little bit easier to keep and maintain than some of the other dairy breeds. They're incredible climbers. They're also very playful, very social animals, and one of only 2 domesticated species here on the reserve. The first were those Ankoli cattle that we saw earlier, so we get to meet them both today. But with that, as
It's a lot smaller. So then it makes sense.
They hide them.
Yes. So for a lot of our animals,
Eagle not taking that. Look at some balls.
Hello. It's porcelain.
A little bit too big for
Aww.
yeah.
Hi, Oka.
All for a different.
Oh, wait, approach. No.
চেয়ারটা দেখো সেই দেখো
And the inland. That's why it's so hard in here.
Buena. No de nada. Es gigante.
এটা হচ্ছে একটা ফুমের পরিবার
She said, but the